40s, she was singing Butterfly, Tosca, you know, the big Puccini spinto rolls. But she took a long time building there, even though she knew that's, and Dosher knew that's where she was going to be going. She took her time getting her there. And so it's fine from an aria standpoint to maybe test out something to hear what's the potential in terms of what you might do on a stage. You want to be a little more on the conservative side, you know, so that all makes sense. So yeah, we talked about her register bridges, you know, some of her voice size. Personality-wise, what do you think of yourself as? And we've got people who are friendly with you here. What do you, do they think of you, what kind of personality? What do you think people think of you?
Oh gosh, okay, so sometimes I can just be like calm and whatever, but there's time that I'm just very loud, and I'm a mix of calm and loud, I guess.
Yeah.
Or giddy.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, talking about the voice size and so on, I mean, I don't mean this to make you self-conscious, but you've got a good sized head, you know. You know, your mouth opens quite wide when you get cranking away and stuff. She has some of the physical attributes that you would expect in a little bit bigger voice, because your head is larger and you know, can open your mouth more, and your neck is pretty stable, you know, you got a lot of muscle and stuff. Those are the kinds of things you look at, you know, does this voice match this body kind of thing, you know? And not that people have to be huge people to have a big sound, but you got some of the right equipment already there, you know? And I mean, that's helpful. That makes it easier for you to sing that kind of rep. So all of those things, you know, weigh into when people are trying to figure out, okay, what voice classification, you know, physically, or do they have what you see in people who sing those roles? You know, or is this just a bigger, more lyric voice, you know, rather than this might eventually be more of a, you know, heavy, dramatic-y kind of voice somewhere down the road. So, you know, those are all those kind of things that teachers and opera directors in school situations are kind of weighing as they counsel people, you know. So anyway, thanks for being under the microscope here for a few minutes. Yeah, it's fun stuff to do. Okay, 5 common sense things to stay healthy as a singer. We've talked about some of them. Diet. Exercise. Hydration. Sleep.
Oh, sorry. We said diet, exercise, hydration, sleep. I would say hygiene. I don't know how to spell it.
Yeah,
staying
hygiene.
clean.
Yeah, like the washing of your hands.
Yes, washing hands.
I'm sorry?
Like managing your stress.
Yeah.
Stress management, absolutely. Because stress is related to how many illnesses? Heart disease, high blood pressure, stroke, cancer, you know, because when our body is stressed, we tend to have a couple of different responses, one of which, you know, we pump out cortisol, which makes us put on weight. It also, your heart rate, you know, your blood vessels constrict, that's the fight, you know, fight aspect of things. Also, we tend to have, you know, bless you,
Oh my goodness.
greater inflammation and things when our body is stressed. So, right, managing stress, sleep, diet, we didn't say it starts with an E.
We did say exercise.
We did?
Yes.
Okay, exercise, hydration, hygiene, yeah. So those are all great things to staying healthy. Let's talk about men and women. So during puberty, do women undergo a voice change?
Yeah.
Yes. Is it as drastic, maybe, and obvious as the one that the males do? Not so.
Like, it goes on for a long period of time.
Yeah, I mean, we saw from the very little girl with the child voice, know, and then as the girls were becoming more adult-like, we hear a change in the size of their voice, the timbre of their voice, presence of vibrato, a number of those kinds of things, right? Okay, what about the boys?
More drastic.
It's a more drastic change. When do we expect change to happen in folks? Like what grades? Yeah, typically in this country, what we call middle school, so 6th, 7th, 8th grade. I mean, every kid is gonna be slightly different. But so what ages are we talking about?
Like 10 to 14.
Yeah, honestly, 10 to 14. Certainly, 11, 12, 13 are those prime changing years, but there are gonna be some people that maybe as early as 10. And other people 14 and 15, you're still, and you guys' voices are still changing too, but not as drastically as they did in that period of time when your whole body was growing and changing. So pretty much what we start seeing in terms of sexual development and things tends to be maybe slightly ahead of the vocal change, but it's those same hormones that are driving things. So which hormone is driving the changes in the women, young women? Estrogen. And estrogen levels go up during puberty. Okay, and then what hormone is driving the changes in the young men? Testosterone. So those two hormones then drive the genders apart in terms of their voice range. Okay, then what happens when we get older and we have less of those hormones? They start to coalesce a little bit. They may not ever completely meet, but okay, there may be some video of him popping up on the news here, because Kirk Douglas, the actor, he turned 100 today.
Wow.
And he's Michael Douglas's father, and of course, very famous actor in his own right. And there may be, some video of him, and you'll hear him as an actor, as a younger man, and who knows, I don't know how healthy he is right now. I think he's pretty good health. There may be something that you see on the news or something of him, making a public appearance and stuff, and listen to his speaking voice, because I bet it is nowhere near as low as it was when he was a younger man. And I talk with my dad on the phone every night, and he's 82, and his voice used to be quite a bit lower. His speaking voice is not that much different from mine, but I talk to him on the phone, and he'll go, "Hey son, how you doing?" It's like, "Hi Dad." So yeah, there are those changes. And I look at his body and how his body has changed, because I remember him as a man, in his 40s and 50s and stuff like that, and he had a whole lot more muscle on him. I had to take him to the doctor one time, and he was getting an ultrasound done, and he had his shirt off, and I don't normally see my dad with his shirt off, and it was like, God, there's, he's just not, the muscle mass is just not there like it used to be, So those are things that happen as those testosterone levels drop. What are some other things that happen as people age? Vocally.
Oh, the ossification.
Ossification of the cartilages, so they're not as pliable. Okay, what else can happen to the joints of some of those cartilages? Arthritis. Yikes. Yeah, doesn't cause any pain, but it might limit mobility a little bit, which could affect vocal function. You're just yawning today?
Sorry, I guess I'm asleep.
Should I just jump on your feet?
No, whenever I don't have school, I always end up staying late, but then wake up at the same time.
Yeah, well, and it's cloudy and stuff outside.
Yeah.
Okay, what else? Daniela, what's something else that happens to people's voices as they age?
I guess they're just more tired.
Well, and it sounds like that.
Yeah.
What's a quality of, think about a quality of their voice.
Is it breath?
Yeah, it's breathier because those muscles that, you know, gave them good adduction when they were younger, those muscles sometimes atrophy. And so rather than getting that good firm closure, you might get a little gap. You know, you'll get a little gap. And so their voice is just a little breathier. You know, if you talk to your, you know, your 80-something-year-old grandparents, and their voice might be like that, and they have to take a few more breaths than they used to do when they were younger, when they breathe, to speak, okay? Because their voice is breathier. So they'll have loss of volume, loss of brilliance and clarity and stuff. You know, Placido Domingo is one of those great examples because he's sung all his life. He still has a lot of that brilliance and power and ring in his voice, you know, because he's a very physically vigorous man, he's very active, and he's continued to sing. The gentleman that I played for you guys, he's 71 in that recording. Still got the chops, you know. Still had a real nice, rich, brilliant, you know, ringing kind of sound, okay? So it's not like aging is the end of the world. It's just, you have to know, okay, the things I could get away with when I was 25, like I could take 2 or 3 days off and it wouldn't matter. Oh, geez, you know, I've been sick off and on here for a week, and it's gonna take forever to get back up, you know, because I don't bounce back quite as quickly.
Wouldn't it also be just like anything, some people age better than others
That's
physically,
true.
so it's also gonna be their
Yeah.
voice.
Yeah,
Some people will age really well and be able
That's true.
singing till.
there are genetic factors that are there no matter what. So choose your parents carefully if you're wanting a long career. But what are the things that you can do? Well, those things that are gonna help you anyway, hygiene, diet, exercise, lowering your stress, you know, sleep, those kind of things are gonna help you live a long life in general, give you the best chance for living a long life, gonna probably prevent a lot of gene expression of the bad stuff. I mean, medicine is just going crazy what we're finding out about gene expression and how those daily habits make such a difference. You know, you see people and they're in their 80s and they're looking great, and you see somebody in their 50s and they're looking awful, and you're thinking, how did they get there? One day at a time. One choice at a time to not smoke that cigarette, to not eat that extra helping, to take that walk around the block, to get that extra half an hour of sleep, you know, to hug more often, you know, and all those kinds of things. It's one choice, one day at a time that makes the difference. So you see these people who are still singing late into their lives, it's because they've made good choices all along the way. Practice instead of take that day off, you know.
Would another factor of aging voice be loss of agility and like
It can
control?
be the loss of agility. You can do a lot to keep yourself. I mean, Lily Pons was singing in her 60s and still singing Lucias and things like that. Roberta Peters sang into her 60s and was still singing coloratura kind of things. So it can be done.
Right, I mean, I was just asking as a
Yeah.
general kind of like we were talking about, you know, breathy sound and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That would be one of them, right?
it
The
could
loss
be
of agility.
a loss of agility. You know, as much as possible by keeping yourself vocally fit and doing staccato exercises and agility exercises and so on, you can keep those skills up. You can keep them up. Now, you know, and daily singing and being around young people that you're demonstrating for, you know. I mean, I know Mrs. Pesky demonstrates a lot in her lessons. That's how she keeps her voice up a lot, because she is singing all the time. And she's singing phrases of stuff that, you know, pieces that she's sung for 30 and 40 years, you know, that's keeping her voice young. So, that kind of stuff is really, really, really important the older you get. What is a formant? Oh my gosh.
Resonance of the vocal tract.
Oh,
Yeah,
residents of the vocal tract. Yeah.
Never to forget, ever.
Never to forget, ever. Okay, let's talk, just briefly, because there's one more thing, and then we're way over time, so I wanna wrap it up. Okay, so let's talk about low in your range, what kinds of things, because I'm looking at an old test which I am modifying, and I just wanna make sure we review this. So low in my range, what are my vocal folds gonna look like?
TA dominant, for sure.
Well, yeah, and
But
so
bulked up.
they're gonna
look
be, they're
shorter.
gonna look shorter,
They're gonna look thicker.
yeah. Okay, versus high, when your correct thyroid is stretching them, they're gonna look, think about Catherine pulling my arm, right? Longer and thinner, yeah, okay. How about how they vibrate? How do they vibrate down low? Show me with your hands. Ah, yes, right, do the wave. Right, so they meet at the bottom,
Full
and you get that nice full contact, and then the top is the last thing to separate. And on the surface of the vocal folds, you can see them kind of rippling, right? And then as we get higher in your range, and there's a little more, that long way stretch, you might not, I mean, if you could get in, and they can now with some imaging techniques, there still is a bottom to top kind of thing, but again, the vocal fold itself has thinned basically because it's getting stretched. So from at least the surface, it's looking more like this kind of a thing rather than this, right? Okay, and you may see maybe incomplete closure when you get up higher too. Okay, how about how far you see them swing from side to side? You know, so like here's the midline. Are they doing this when you're up high?
No,
Or- Yeah, you might see just this. It almost just looks like a little blur of the edges, right? But down low, what do you see? You know, you're not only getting this, but you're getting, you see like there's more excursion back and forth. Yeah, okay. When I'm down low, what's the spectrum typically look like? If you remember way back then, what's the spectrum look like when I'm singing low? So, you know, the spectrum is this, yeah? So, are they close together or far apart? If I'm singing low. If I'm singing low, you're gonna see a lot of them and they're gonna be pretty close together, right?
Oh, that's right.
If I'm higher in my range, we're gonna see more, you know, space between them. That's kinda cool.
Are we talking about our performance?
No, just the harmonics.
Okay.
Down low,
Oh.
they're gonna be more closely spaced, cause if you're lower, there's my fundamental, and then so like that's 100, that's gonna be 200, that's gonna be 300, right? But if I'm up high, like this is 1,000, that's 2,000, that's 3,000, so they're farther apart. Okay. Which muscles are working? So if I'm singing low, so this is the low side, which muscle is dominant?
The thyroid right
Yeah, the TA muscle, right? Just think of my bicep, okay? And so, if I'm singing high, which one's the more dominant? So, high, especially women or guys in falsetto. Yeah, just think of Catherine just, yeah, crack the thyroid, okay. Okay, and I will field,
What's this last question? Give some examples.
oh,
of
about,
balance.
yeah,
Do you
yeah.
mean like, what do you mean balance?
I'm not gonna have any essays sent, don't sweat it, but I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it. So in order for us to be able to smoothly go through our registers, we've got to have a balance between like the cricothyroid and the thyroarytenoid, right? In order for us to have good breath management, we've got to have a balance of those muscles that keep our ribcage expanded with the things that are going to be driving the air out. When we're talking about our larynx and its positioning, we've got to have a balance so that it's not riding too high and it's not too depressed.
Apodulous life.
Yeah, and we don't want our voices to be too bright, but we don't want them to be too dark. So there's all these things that we have, and even like our body alignment is a balancing. So balance is a real universal thing with our voices. And so, you know, when you're going on down the road as a teacher, you know, balancing how much time do you spend on exercises versus the rep. Balancing how much emotional support do you give someone with, okay, you know, we just have to kind of buck it up here and do this, you know. How much tough love, how much arm around the shoulder and pat on the back. All of those things, singing, teaching, and the act of singing are really about balancing a lot of factors to find the optimal, not the maximal, but the optimal. If you watch, I always like this analogy about golfers. You know, I could whack the ball harder, but it may not go farther, and I certainly am not going to know where it's going to go. But there's that optimal use of my power that I still have control over. You know, and you see a great singer sing a beautiful high note, that's controlled power. Although, to achieve that, there's a whole lot of kind of let the animal go that you have to kind of see, okay, how do I chain that lion, you know, so that it doesn't run away from me, you know? Okay, so when is the final?
Thursday.
Thursday at 9:45.
9:45.
Yeah, I think 9:45, right? Should be. That's what's in the syllabus. So, I will be bringing some eats. You are welcome to bring little snacks. One year we came for the final, and God bless, let's see, Alexa Nichols was involved with it, and Rachel Pierce was involved in it, and we had like south of the border final, and they had like this little blow up cactus, and they had these little fake margarita glasses, and a sombrero. I wore the sombrero.
Was it full of crunch and crushed up?
Oh, it
marrow?
was fantastic. We had a great time. Bless you.
Thank you.
Go wash that shirt.
Yeah. Better than
Yes,
putting it.
we thank you.
The cedar has started early this year,
Yes, it has.
and cedar kills me.
Yeah,
So.
we thank you. Okay, so I will have some edibles by the missus, and I promise I will wear the reindeer antlers, but you have to promise me that you're gonna do sleigh ride, and then I will do the reindeer dance, I promise.
Do it.
Ooh, that would be even better.
Featuring what?
Okay.
What time is it? Y'all, how long do we have until our first meeting?
It's 12:25 right now. If you have burning questions that everybody, you know, you're talking amongst yourselves and it's like, I'm really confused, write me or something, and I'll respond to everybody on Facebook, okay? Or I'll email you all back. Got lots of things on Blackboard, review things, there's local help things you can use as review, there's like some PowerPoints that we didn't use here in class. And we've got all the handouts and things, just, it's gonna be multiple choice and true falses and matchings and short answers.
Fill in the
So,
charts.
don't feel like I'm asking you 5 essays. I normally do, I'm not this time.
Well, you have
Yes.
to.
Care for
You're so
yourself.
nice. Merry Christmas to us.
So you
Merry
tell,
Christmas to
tell
yourself,
every,
too.
yeah, tell every pedagogy class in the future that I should take a international trip at the end of the semester.
Yes.
Because
You need to be able to grade quickly.
I need to be able to grade quickly. I have to selfishly say, that is my motivation. Alrighty, it's been real. We get to do it again next semester.
Hey, I'd like to talk
about setting up a meeting to discuss tips for picking a research topic.
Okay.
Because I think about it all the time and I'm not any closer to anything that I'm. That would be, there's plenty of things that are interesting, but that I don't know are realistic in the scope of the time that we have and the resources that we have. So
I also
I'd
need
like
more
to-
information.
I need
Well,
more